project has people behind it.
Some support it.
Some challenge it. And managing them all is the key to success.
I'm Robert H. Lujico.
I'm Kimberly A. Mate.
I'm Divine Grisby Kutayan.
Today, we'll dive into stakeholder management.
Stakeholder management includes the activities required for understanding and meeting stakeholders' expectations, dealing with emerging stakeholders, issues, minimizing resistance, ensuring the support and availability of key stakeholders, influencing the perceptions, and maintaining stakeholder engagement.
Some examples of key stakeholder management activities are identifying stakeholders, analyzing stakeholders' needs, wishes, concerns, and authority, determining the most adequate strategy to manage each individual or group, promoting engagement with the project, communicating proactive with the stakeholders to monitor their needs and expectations, influencing expectations, assessing if the engagement approach is effective, and adjusting the engagement approach when needed.
Stakeholder management should be performed throughout the project. Stakeholders are identified in the early stages of project as part of the project initiation. This snapshot of project stakeholder environment lays the ground of defining objectives, which reflect expectations. During the early stages of the project manager will plan stakeholder management approaches, which will be implemented throughout the project. When needed, the project manager may need to revisit stakeholder identification and engagement planning to reflect changes in the stakeholder scenario, such as emergence of new stakeholders, shifts in influence, and organizational changes.
Eagle stakeholder engagement approach is based on the assumption that a project will go through constant adaptations to the product requirements, solutions, assignments, and process. The need for adaptation requires a close relationship with the customer and other stakeholders to confirm that the project is aligned with requirements and expectations and adapt as needed.
Therefore, agile processes are built on top of the principle that stakeholders must have fully visibility over project performance. Examples of stakeholder management options in an agile environment include
Inviting stakeholders to project team meetings and project status meetings, regularly updating project dashboards to ensure that stakeholders understand project performance, fostering constant interaction with the customer to clarify requirements, and promoting regular product inspections with stakeholders.
Let us discuss the classification models for stakeholder analysis. Not all stakeholders have the same amount of influence or power over the project. Therefore, the way to manage each stakeholder needs to be calibrated based on a proper classification of the stakeholders. This is the role of the classification model. You can come up with a grid that maps the power of the stakeholders, the interests they have, the influence they may have, or the impact that they can have on the project through the power interest, power influence, or influence impact grids. It can be represented by mapping stakeholders to a power or interest grid.
The diagram on the screen has an x-axis which represents interest level and a y-axis which represents the power level based on the various combinations of power levels and interest levels. The grid can be divided into 4 quadrants. So first is the high power, high interest, top right, need to be managed closely. You have to monitor their involvement and engagement very closely. And second is the low power, high interest, bottom right. Need to keep in the loop. You should share information with them and keep them regularly informed. Third is the high power, low interest, top left. Can be managed by keeping them happy, for example, by making sure that their interests and opinions are taken into considerations. And last is the low power, low interest, bottom left, may be managed less actively by simply monitoring how things are going with them.
The skills required for stakeholder management. Stakeholder management is both an art and a science since it involves dealing with people, and people are inherently non-linear and unpredictable. There is no one-size-fits-all strategy or tool that will work while managing them. However, a project manager may use a few traits and techniques while managing stakeholders, which are classified as interpersonal skills and managerial skills. Interpersonal skills. A project manager must possess good interpersonal skills. That is, they must invest the time and energy to build trust. This involves multiple things such as establishing a personal rapport, following through on commitments, being punctual, etc. Once the trust is established, it helps in smoothing many difficult bends. Interpersonal.
Conflict management is an important skill for a project manager. While communicating with stakeholders, the project manager must practice active listening. They must not assume that they have all the answers. Instead, they should spend some time to understand the issues and the stakeholders' points of view. This alone can go a long way in something ruffled feathers and building constructive relationships. Resistance to change are natural. A project manager must know how to convert that into a positive energy in its favor.
Managerial skills that may help in accomplishing the project objectives. Building consensus. A project manager must be able to build consensus among the group. While absolute uniformity may not always be possible or desirable, the project manager must use techniques to ensure widespread discussions and arrive at a path that the group can buy into. Influencing people. The project manager must be able to influence people, often without necessarily being in the position of authority. Negotiation. The project manager must be skillful to negotiate agreements. Organizational behavior. The project manager must be able to understand and modify organizational behavior in order to move the project in a certain direction.
Oh, yes.